Welcome to the Bulls Recap Podcast, Emergency Podcast. I just got another text right now. We may have Kobe White on the move here shortly. Stay tuned. Let's bring my guy in, the crime dog. Busy day, hectic day.
Wow, Kobe, huh?
Kobe could be
next.
Well, it's
fun when we're live. Let's go.
Yeah, they might be pulling him out of the lineup, so that's a sign. Interesting. It's chaos up here. I'm going to tell you that right now. So what you have is obviously the Bulls trades they made. Vucevic to Boston for Anthony Simons, who's an expiring contract, $27 million. That's interesting because that's almost setting the stage for something else, whether it's you've already told Simons you want to re-sign him or he's on the move somewhere. And then obviously the one done earlier, the three-team trade, which set Huerter out and Saric, we knew you well, and brings in Conley and brings in Jaden Ivey. Ivey's probably a keeper. I mean, that's a piece that fits their timeline of wanting to build around Modest and Josh Giddey. But the big thing going on right now is we're up here in Milwaukee, and the Bucks writers are obviously scrambling because is there something going on bigger with Giannis? That's the question. It doesn't feel Bulls-like right now. I know that Vegas did what they did with the odds.
Yep.
But according to the Milwaukee writers, two things that people have to remember. The information that's breaking here is Giannis asked for the trade, and Milwaukee always stood on the ground that if he asked for a trade, F you, all bets are off. We're not looking to send you where you want to go. So if he wants to go to Chicago, too bad. Milwaukee is going to go for the best offer, and they don't care where they send him. Send him to Sacramento. They don't give a damn.
As they should.
Yeah. So the Bulls have to keep that. Bulls fans have to keep that in mind. The other thing, yes, he has bought a lot of real estate in Chicago. Rumors he was buying a house in Chicago to monitor that business venture that he has with the real estate. But to get this deal together in the next 48 hours is very difficult when you could get a lot better offers in the offseason. So at least coming out of Milwaukee here, what the Bucks writers are thinking is they are setting the table to trade him in the offseason. They may just shut him down the rest of the year. He may shut himself down the rest of the year. But the Milwaukee Bucks are in full blow-it-up tank mode. So, for the Bulls to be players in the Giannis thing, you're basically it's Josh, Jaden Ivey, and Giannis. Those are going to be your core three because everything else would have to go, including Modest.
What do you think about that, by the way?
I mean, it's so tough. Does that really make you Eastern Conference Finals?
Is Giannis healthy? Obviously, he's got. I mean, you're playing as if he is.
I'm just saying the Giannis the last year and a half hasn't screamed at me MVP can carry you to the finals.
Agreed.
Could make you a very good playoff team. Could get you home court advantage in the first round. But the goal here is to build a championship. If it's not, if it's just to kind of say, look at the jump we made, which it seems like Arturas has done far too often, then maybe that's the move. I just find that a little hard to believe that that's the end game. So I don't know. There's a lot going on, and it looks like Kobe White, at least from what I'm getting, could be pulled out of the lineup, which means they either have something in place or they feel like they're close on something.
Good momentum building.
Yeah, because you got 8 guards right now, and none of them basically be playing tonight if they pull Kobe out. So I'll be.
Let's be honest, Joe. What after what's happened today in the last few hours, why wouldn't you move Kobe?
Oh, 100%. I think they're just trying to find the right deal.
Yeah.
So it's not official that Kobe's been pulled out, but someone just gave me a heads up that he could be pulled out.
So let me ask you about the deals the Bulls made today. I like both of them. The Boston ones, like you said, it's interesting because you don't know which way the fork in the road is going to lead to. Is it he's on the move, Simons is on the move?
Right.
Are you keeping him? It's an expiring deal. The Jaden Ivey one, to me, is definitely intriguing, especially with what you gave up.
Yeah. I think right now, today, Huerter's probably a little better player because he does a little bit of everything. I think Jaden Ivey's way higher ceiling and fits in your timeline. 25. He's going to be a restricted free agent. And here's the thing, and we talked about this. I knew Arturas was going to be aggressive. So none of this surprises me that he finally is getting off his ass and being aggressive. This is not a surprise. The thing that's interesting is he's striking when the iron is hot because he knows there's only 9 teams with financial flexibility. In a year where multiple teams would have flexibility, there would be multiple bidders for Jaden Ivey. The Bulls are probably going to be the only ones, so they set the market on him. Just because you're either against the apron right now or you're close to the apron. You can't make a bid for Jaden Ivey. There's 9 teams that can make bids on restricted free agents, and I think that's the Bulls' plan. They want to make things as uncomfortable as they can for other teams. Duran from Detroit. Look, Detroit's going to match probably, but the Bulls will make it uncomfortable by saying, "Hey, he's an all-star caliber big rim protector. Here's what we're offering." So. That is the plan right now, to be a raccoon and dig through other people's garbage, and this is the plan.
Yeah, but here's what's different about that. It's not the AK Mark Eversley front office of years past.
No.
Trying to find someone else's, either leftover scraps or a diamond in the rough. The fact that they're actually jumping out in front here 2 days ahead of the deadline, while some people wait to see what happens with Giannis, what happens with James Harden. The Bulls are out there making moves, and I set the over/under earlier today at 2.5 moves because I'm like, that sounds about right. It's now I feel like it's going to go way over that. But what do you believe? Why now? Like, what inspired AK now to look like he's going to puff his chest out here and pick a direction for the first time?
His lifetime scholarship was getting revoked. There was some ripples that you are no longer on this lifetime scholarship to draft Noah Sengay as a project in a draft class where guys are just flat out changing organizations. You pick the one guy who's a project, a redshirt guy. Even if he was healthy this year, he was a project. If you think about his secret extension that he gave himself, It was basically this year, next year, one more year. Anybody that knows Jerry Reinsdorf, he will not pay dead money for multiple years. He will pay dead money for a last year. We've talked about this before. So basically, I think Arturas had this year, the offseason, the draft class, next year, trade deadline, maybe into the offseason, maybe if a path was picked. And then he could have easily been excommunicated at that point. So I think he was starting to feel that heat that some suites are starting to go dark. There's been a lot of vet players in town bitching about the direction of the Bulls, whether it was Derrick Rose night and all the guys that were in town. And you know what? And I think for the first time, the locker room was getting volatile and talking about the distrust they have for this front office. I heard it from multiple guys. I wrote that the other day, that there was a growing distrust in the locker room. And I think guys felt like they were being lied to. It's like, we're big boys. Just tell us what you're thinking. If it means sending me somewhere, that's fine. But just don't lie to me and lie to my agent, pretend like, we're boys and we're all in this together. If you're going to ship me, cool, just prepare me. And organizations don't have to do that, but the good ones do. And so I think it was a mixture of that perfect storm. But I think the main thing was bosses are finally saying, this is 6 years of the same crap. We're turning up the heat on the oven. So,
and isn't that similar to the message, whether it was last year here on the podcast, speaking specifically to Vooch. Vooch was just looking for some type of direction in the last 2 years we knew this was coming. He knew this was coming. And I believe it was a year ago at this time where he was like, Joe, I'll stay, I'll go. I just would like some kind of voice or some kind of direction. And clearly after another 12 months gone by, he's earned the right, certainly, to voice that frustration.
Yeah, I'm beyond thrilled that he's going to Boston. He's going to play meaningful April, hopefully into May games, really for the first time on a big stage. I think he's a perfect fit there. But yeah, this guy's been as perfect a soldier as do whatever, just kind of keep me in the loop. I think I've deserved that after all these years. If you remember when he got traded from Orlando, beginning of the year, the Magic came out and said he was untouchable.
Yep.
So when the Bulls got him, that was a big get. You took a guy that was deemed untouchable. And, Bulls fans that hate Vooch, and there's a lot of them like to sit there and say, not a rim protector. Well, he wasn't brought there to be a rim protector. He was never a rim protector. So the idea that he was coming there to be a rim protector is ludicrous. But he's as top 7, top 8 a center as there's been since he's been a Bull. And if people don't understand that, I don't know what they're watching. So, and it sounds like Boston tried doing some other things, Jackson, and then when Jackson leaves Memphis, that opens the door for the Vooch thing. I think they had been talking with Vooch. I think Golden State was in play if they had decided to go all in, and we discussed that, I think, last week, that if there was a place that at that time for Vooch, it was going to be Golden State saying, hey, we're going for this one last time, and, we'll bring Vooch in because Post and Al Horford weren't working out in the middle. So, so I'm real happy for Vooch, happy for Kevin Huerter. He gets to go to a top-seeded team. Another good guy. We've had him on the podcast last month. Great dude. So you're happy for these guys, although those are two good talkers. From a selfish media standpoint, we just lost two go-to guys. So, we'll see. But, yeah, and to your point, Ivy, I like Ivy. I liked him coming out of college. High ceiling. Shot 40% once last year, but he only played 30 games before season-end surgery or whatever it was. So, but I like him. I think he's a high-ceiling guy, and he fits in with Giddey. And the Anthony Simons thing is, this could be a resting spot. I wouldn't buy a place yet. So that's the one. He could be going in 24 hours. He could be, hey, let's work a deal out. I just don't know if he fits. I mean, I don't know. Something strange there. But definitely, Kobe White, I think, is on the move. And I think this also puts the thought process that either Ayo could be on the move, Trey Jones, one other one, because the guard room is packed.
Can you help Michael here and other Bulls fans that feel like today is just another throw your hands up, I don't know what this is, trading mid players for other mid players is a direction? Okay. It is a direction because it's foreign territory to what the Bulls front office has done in the past few years. But, Joe, can you elaborate on the fans who are like, what the hell is this?
If they are setting themselves up for Giannis, then that's the direction. But even if they're not, what I think they're finally doing is, without Vooch, without Huerter, you could see them start maybe resting guys. I think this could turn into a soft tank where you're saying, okay, now we're looking to add a young piece to the mix, and then we're going to take our financial flexibility to the summer where we know we have a one-up on at least 5 guys that we have on a list that we're going to bid on, restricted free agents. And we're going to make it very painful for those teams to either resign him or we're going to get him. Is it to me, is it a direction to a championship? No, because you still haven't shown me that dude. But you are showing me an improvement in talent where now all of a sudden you're not a play-in team, where all of a sudden you are a 6 or a 5.
You're a playoff team. You're
a playoff team. So it's not the way I would do it, but it is at least them picking a spot and using this financial flexibility pretty smartly. I will say this is pretty good. The Ivy thing, because they know they can bid on him and get him at a team-friendly cost. So I do like what they're doing. They're taking advantage of the flexibility they set themselves up for. But again, it all gets back to a lot of this is being done because of mistakes made the last 3 years. So you're correcting the ship that you already crashed into one iceberg, and you're hoping you're not taking into another iceberg. You're hoping there's open waters and there's good seas in front of you. We'll see.
And that's why there are people saying, like, trusting AK to draft a young superstar. His draft is beyond awful. Southside saying Jerry's teams love financial flexibility. Kurt saying typical AK, no rhyme or reason, more of the same BS. More of the same BS would have been sitting on your hands and keeping all these expiring contracts with no future.
Which I knew he wasn't going to do. And that's why I've been very – I don't know if people follow me in the Sun Times or frequent visitors to this podcast. Since early December, I've been on that AK is as active as he's ever been, as active since last trade deadline as he's ever been, has been as transparent as he's ever been with other teams for the first time. I was hearing this from executives, other coaches, that this guy was trying to get something done. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that asses were finally on the line from bosses. But now can he stick the landing on a big piece? At least the Milwaukee feel, from talking to beat writers here and guys in the know here that I trust, Giannis to Chicago does not make sense for Milwaukee.
Okay.
If they are 100% doing a solid by Giannis, then it makes sense. But why should they?
But why do they owe that? I mean, this is business, man. So okay, we know the DraftKings story that came out earlier this week with the odds. You mentioned them at the top of this podcast. Because you're in Milwaukee, because there's so much Giannis speculation, give me a percent that the Chicago Bulls land Giannis by Thursday.
Before the Vooch trade and getting Simons, I would have said 2%. I'm going to up it to about 8 to 10% right now, because Simons is a interesting piece, because you can move him elsewhere for a 3-team deal, and you still have a lot of pieces. My concern is, and the thing that Bulls fans have to wrap their fingers around and their hands around and their arms around, is if it's going to happen, we're saying goodbye to Giannis. And that kind of, to me, goes against everything Arturas has said and done the last 2 years. It feels like the foundation pieces are Josh and Giannis, and because he at least feels they both are high ceiling guys. I think Giannis is a high ceiling guy. I think we're kind of getting close to seeing Josh's ceiling, and it's a good ceiling. But Josh on a good team, a top 4 team in the East, is probably should be your third best player. If that's like your 1A or 1B, you still got some serious issues. So I think the plan is more of 8 to 10% right now because of the Simons thing, but I still think the plan is Simons could go elsewhere to a place that needs a scorer, and again, you'll bring in something else. It might be an expiring contract, and you're really going to rail teams, whether it's Duran from the Pistons or Mathurin from Indiana. You're really going to put the screws on teams with these restricted free agents, knowing Detroit's up against it, knowing Indiana is way up against it. They cannot re-sign him. So that's why there's talks about him being traded. So I think that's where you're at right now. I think that's more of the plan that they're using. They're going to try bullying teams with this financial flexibility.
All right, so let me ask you this. Let's table Giannis. He's not going to Chicago. Tell me how this plan for AK and company can be a success. The one that they're actually instituting right now, assuming this is what you just said is a soft tank. What would be a successful version of the plan on the backside?
I think a successful plan for them is they are also setting the stage for possibly, is Zion going to be a headache for another month and a half for New Orleans, and is New Orleans finally willing to part with them? I know for a fact that they're infatuated with Zion, because they know that gives them a sneaky. To me, when Zion plays, and people can disagree with me and tell me I'm full of ass and all that stuff, when Zion plays and Zion is healthy, he's a top 15 player. But in New Orleans, he's a headache. And they can only put up with that headache so long. And I think the fact that they have Derek Queen and Fairs and feel good that maybe they have to kind of dip back into that 26 draft and somehow get a pick back after they gave it away to Atlanta, I think all of that is going to be in play. I think that would be the perfect scenarios if Modest could finally move to the 3, you have Zion at the 4, and you find a big in the draft at the 5, and you have Josh Giddey, and then you're going to have Jaden Ivey. I think that, to me, as a Bulls fan, I'd say, okay, I could kind of get excited about this team, and I could see this team at worst being a 4 or 5. And then who knows what the ceiling is, because you don't know what Modest is going to be. You don't know what a motivated Zion, because now you've been traded and you're out of that city where there's an element there that doesn't really coincide with Zion's lifestyle or the lifestyle he's choosing. To me, that'd be the perfect, hey, this set up perfectly, and come August when camp and guys are starting to get back into town, I'm excited as a Bulls fan. Hey, these guys finally got it. This is a product I can be excited about.
Hey, Brett, I'll take care of this one. Why would you trade Nikola Vucevic? He wasn't a bad player. You need a star who wins a championship like that. Here's the problem, Brett. That ceiling and that window closed. Yeah. They never built around him. They never built through him. When they ran through him, the offense seemed to work. Then they would pivot and go a different direction. It just didn't work. He needs to go to an offense and a team that's ready to win. He's on the back end of his career. So that's why.
And I do know for a fact they want – Vooch is he's not a small center, but he's slightly undersized. The reason they love Collins is because Collins fills the part of a 6'10", 6'11" guy. Vooch is more of a kind of 4 or 5. They're really gung-ho on this idea of all of a sudden getting big. Jaden Ivey's a decently sized guard. Simons is not. That's why the Simons thing, Don't
Yeah,
fall in
Cap-
love with Anthony Simons being
Cap's
here.
falling in love with him already. I'm like, dude, hang on.
Yeah, don't fall in love with that yet. I think if Simons is here, something went wrong.
Okay, that's good to know. All right,
Yeah.
so I think there are, correct me if I'm wrong, 6 expiring deals currently on the roster right now.
There's still the same amount because Simons and
There's
Vuce were
8.
both expiring.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Simons.
Ivy's restricted and Huerter was expiring. So
Let's
Ivy's the
table
only.
Ivy. Let's table Ivy because
Okay.
let's not count that one.
Conley's expiring.
So, Conley's expiring, which I don't.
Conley's he's either a buyout or another piece for a package.
So
He's someone else's problem.
Correct.
Very soon.
Exactly. So of the 8 that I guess are current, including the 2 that just got today, how many do you expect to go before Thursday at 2 p.m.?
The only one I feel good about, if you're a Bulls fan, you might want to go out and order his jersey, is Ivy. There's two jerseys out of the backcourt that you should covet, and that's Ivy and Giddey. Anything else, including Trey Jones, who Billy loves, are all expendable, and that includes Io. I think they want to re-sign Io and keep him as that 6th man, and I've written that and said that before, but again, nothing is in cement.
I know you got to go work here soon, but there's just a lot of confusion here from fans because I think for 2 reasons.
There's a lot of confusion right now in Milwaukee, trust me,
Yeah.
including personnel with the Bulls, including the locker room.
But it's the reason everyone's confused is because it's the first time there's actually been chaos at this time in 5 years plus. I mean, more than that. You've been on that beat for over a decade. So you see what people are saying. Zion's a terrible pickup.
That's fine.
Are these moves to spend in free agency? What would AK know about a ceiling? Mostly floors. I understand the frustration. The Bulls they've earned that frustration.
100%.
But this is a good day right now to me.
Yes.
This is a great day for the Bulls and the front office. I'm curious to see they're hitting like 55 in the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit right now.
Right.
Where it ends, I don't know, but you just laid out a pretty good damn example of how this could be a good thing for the Bulls. If they have Simons and it falls flat, it wasn't for lack of effort.
No, and if Simons is playing for the Bulls, I don't expect that he's playing with them next year. But again, I'm going to go back to this. They have what 22 other teams do not have, and that is the flexibility to call their own shots. It doesn't mean they're going to invest that money wisely, but I think they are going to use that money to bully teams into making tough decisions. And if those teams don't want to make those tough decisions, that's why I wrote the other day in the Sun-Times, Arturas Karnisovas, to me it translates, I don't know the Latin word for raccoon, but Arturas Karnisovas to me is a raccoon because that's what he is right now. He is digging through other teams' garbage. It is not the way I would build a team. I think you have to, in 2026, because of the aprons, you have to find a star in the draft, especially when it's a loaded draft class like 25 and 26 are and were. That's the route I would have taken. He did not want to take that route, so he's going to try something different. So I'm going to give him grace and say, let's see you do it, raccoon.
I can't speak Latin for shit, but procyon lodor is the Latin word for I got your back.
Thank
brother.
you.
You know
what I meant.
Yes.
Arturas Karnisovas almost sounds like a Latin word of raccoon.
I'm just never saying his full name for once and not AK. All right, last question for you. Next to go.
Kobe White.
Yeah.
I mean, someone could jump the line, obviously, if some team really loves Io. Because, I mean, you have to understand something. When Jackson went to Utah, all bets are off. I mean, last year when Luka got traded, all bets were off. But when Jaren Jackson went today, because now Utah, think about what Utah's going to do real quick. It sounds like they're going to keep Lowry now. They're going to have Jackson. They need to keep that pick protected from OKC. So they're going to sit everybody the rest of the year, and then they're going to try to add somebody, whether it's a top 3 guy. And so they could actually have Jackson, AJ DeBonsa, and Lowry start next year. How'd you like that if you're Utah? Pretty damn good.
Pretty quick flip, right? Pretty quick flip.
Yeah.
So Joe's got to go work, folks. The guy's in Milwaukee. He might bring you. Who knows? You might actually be bringing Giannis back to Chicago. I don't know.
I might live in one of his houses with his brothers.
All right, sign this puppy off as you normally do.
I got next.